The important story that came by a big relief coming in for Go First Airlines. The NCLT today has granted protection under moratorium and has additionally ordered appointment of insolvency resolution professional in this case. Ashmit joins in with the latest on the same. Ashmit, it's a relief.
Well, a big relief coming in for Go First. This is the prayer that they had been seeking before the NCLT. When they had moved this application, they had voluntarily moved for insolvency under Section 10, and they had argued that because of financial incapacity, they need protection from lessors taking back the aircraft. That was the primary concern. Now, the NCLT has reserved its order on May 4th, and subsequently today on May 10th, it came out with its final order, and in doing that, it has granted Go First the protection it had sought, it had required. NCLT number one has admitted their Section 10 application, which essentially means that they are now officially under the bankruptcy proceeding called the CIRP proceedings. The second and the more important takeaway is that the NCLT has provided for a moratorium. Moratorium essentially is a protection of the assets of the company, in this case Go Air, which happens to be the planes. And importantly, this moratorium comes in the way of any recovery proceedings that may be launched by operational creditors or by lessors in this case. So the understanding, we spoke to Mr. Kona immediately after the judgment, and his understanding is very clear that under the moratorium protection, lessors can no longer come ahead and take back the aircraft. He confirmed that there are 26 planes currently in the fleet and that they will continue to operate. That's his understanding. Lessors, their requests with the DGCA can no longer be proceeded with. That's part one of the order. The other part is appointment of an IRP or an interim resolution professional. The NCLT has appointed an IRP and has given him the twin mandate of, number one, ensuring that the airline continues as a going concern, it remains afloat, and number two, pursuing the arbitration proceedings against Pratt & Whitney, both in Singapore as well as in Delaware. That's the twin mandate that the IRP has been served with. And as of right now, the current management, which will now be suspended, has been granted the direction that it has to support the IRP in any shape or form and has to extend 5 crore rupees with the IRP to ensure that any interim expenses can be met. So that's the broad takeaway here. NCLT granting that moratorium protection to Go First, and also importantly directing the IRP to maintain the status of the airline as a going concern.
Okay, thanks a lot for that. Well, let's listen into the first reaction that came in from the Go First CEO Kaushik Kona on the historic order. Ashmit caught up with the CEO moments ago. Here's what he had to say.
We've just moments back received the judgment from the NCLT providing for, number one, admitting the Section 10 application as well as the moratorium. Your quick take on that?
I think it's historic, and I think it's millions of prayers have been heard. I think it is also historic in the sense that the purpose of IBC, which is to preserve a viable business before it becomes unviable, has been really salute over there. I think congratulations to all who have been part of this process. Let's work on the revival.
Just one more question, sir. In terms of the way forward, NCLT has also said no employees, there will be no retrenchment, as well as providing for the IRP to follow through on the important arbitration proceedings. Just a word on that.
I think that's the basic purpose of the Section 10, where we wanted that the airline should preserve its assets, it should preserve all its viable opportunities to survive. And one of the major issue which we have is to get the Pratt & Whitney engines. And I think that is what the arbitral award means. That means we have to pursue. The IRP is directed to pursue for that also. Thanks.
Okay, so that's management of Go First in a story which we will be tracking through the day very closely.